Warm welcome. This class is all about calming the nervous system and stressing down your body. If you feel like your mind is just going with a fast pace and your body might be tight and you don't know what to do in order to relax more and calm everything down, this is a practice that my prayer is that will help you. If you have a block, it's a great thing to use. It can also be a large book and 2 tennis balls. Or my fascia balls, probably you have something nearby. 2 is a great number because we can go on each side of the spine and the shoulders, which tend to be really tight when we're stressed. For now, you just put those balls just aside. We'll be using them later in the class. But maybe you want to sit on your block or your book, whatever you have. We can also sit on a chair. Just going to breathe for a moment. Not for that long because some of us have a hard time breathing. But we're going to try. Place one hand on the chest and one on your belly. And make sure you sit somewhat tall. Maybe you want to calm your shoulders, bring them a little bit down. Picturing your spine going directly towards the ceiling. And then close your eyes. And try to notice that pressure of your hands. Don't push onto your chest or your belly, but just have that gentle touch so your skin can notice the input from your hands. As you relax your shoulders, try to breathe into the hand you have on your belly. So on your inhale, you move the hand out, and on your exhale, the hand releases in towards the spine. And if you feel ready, try to focus on the hand that's on your chest. And see if you can sense a little bit of a lift in your chest as you inhale. And as the belly drops in, the chest also moves back. And sit still and just notice. Two more big, deep breaths without exaggerating, without you having to prove anything. And it might feel nice to release the hands down on your thigh somewhere. Keep moving or breathing slowly, and then you can move your shoulders in some circles slowly. And remind yourself that life, if you're a Christian or not, also consists of pauses, consists of time with rest. And now is your time to rest. There are no problems you need to solve right now. There's no worries you have to do anything about right now. It's all in God's hands. And maybe you sigh out. And maybe your sighing out becomes almost like a cry out. Letting go of that, maybe pain or sorrow. Just keep sighing out as much as you like, as loud as you like. If you're ready to stop sighing out, you might open your eyes. Bring your hands behind your head. Grasp the hands behind your head, and you might push the palms into the back of your head and the back of the head into the palms a little bit. Bring the elbows out. Again, sit up tall if you kind of pushed yourself together there. And then twist towards your right side. And coming back. And then towards your left side. Keep the elbows out to the side. And maybe you breathe as you twist. Inhale as you move from side to side. Exhale as you twist. I'm not going to bring a lot of prayers and scriptures in as we move, because sometimes I think that's kind of can take the focus away from just trying to relax the body, trying to breathe. But maybe you picture your mat as this mat of God's grace and God's love and God's care. So when you're seated on the mat and moving in your twist, when you're standing, doing whatever posture we're doing, you are, whatever you're thinking or feeling, standing in God's love and God's care. I love to use that image. Let go of your twist. You're going to move slowly, very slowly today. Take the wrist for a spin. And then find tabletop, and you can bring the block just somewhere on the side. Fold the mat if you want to have extra cushion for the knees. And then do your cat-cows. Maybe taking the hips slightly back behind your knees. And then going a little bit forward as you do your cow, which is the arch of the back. So you exhale as you do your cat, moving your hips slightly back. Inhale, moving a little bit forward. And slow down. Never so slowly that you feel dizzy from breathing too slowly or not having enough air, okay? But as we move slowly with our bodies, sometimes it can have that effect that our mind slows down as well. And make sure that you choose your postures. Sometimes stress can be caused by not listening to yourself, but just, focusing on what other people want you to do the whole time. So please listen into what your body needs. So if you want to stay in tabletop, stay in tabletop. I will move into downward facing dog. So if you feel like that is the right thing for you, please join me. But don't join me if not. If you're in your down dog, you can move your legs. If you're in tabletop, maybe stretch one leg back, switching at some point. And then you walk your feet to the top of the mat. Always some distance in between the feet. Bending your knees, dropping your head down. Maybe right elbow is, you're holding on with your right hand on your left elbow and opposite. And then bending your knees more as you round your spine, coming into a mountain, standing at the top of your mat. Bring the shoulders down. Again, focus on your breathing, that slow, deep inhale. And on your next inhale, you might bring your arms out to the side for that big circle. Bring your arms back, lean back just a little bit, open up your chest. Bring the arms out. And then you can stretch your spine, your palms move together on top of your head. Bend your knees as much as you want to. Slowly lean forward. Maybe you bring your hands on the floor, bend your knees a little bit, or again rounding up. So no straight lines here as we come up. Shoulders tucked back, keep your arms moving out to the sides. So more like a softening of everything as you move into your back bend, opening up. Slowly move back into a straight spine. And no need to breathe in a specific way here. Just go slow. As you move into mountain pose, bending your knees, rounding your spine, make sure your core is tight. Grow your arms out to the side, up towards heaven. Maybe you look up, reaching up, opening up, almost like a child. And palms together again, lean forward. 2 more times, slowly. You might even go more slow than I do. Always moving a little bit. Closing your eyes. Maybe you feel the body getting a little bit warmer, a little bit more soft as you move slowly through this small sequence. Try to keep breathing through your nose. Last time, bringing your arms over your head, leaning back. Maybe you're already ahead of me. We're going to finish this sequence folding forward. So if you're there ready, just stay there. With your fingertips on the floor, step your right leg back. Again, you can go for the full thing. We're going to go into Warrior 2. Or if your body is tired, you're fatigued, don't go for a wide distance. Just go for a shorter distance. Bending the front leg, front foot aligned with the long end of the mat and the back foot with the short end of the mat. Bringing your arms out. And allowing yourself to soften your shoulders, your elbows, your arms, fingers. Reverse your warrior, so front palm facing up. Keep the front leg bended as you lean a little bit back. And maybe you look up towards the sky if you can keep the balance there. And then slowly come to the front. Bring your hands down. You can just extend that front leg, whatever works for you. Back heel off. Lowering down. Again, bending the front knee, stacking it over the ankle. You might want to choose to bring the right knee on the floor for that low lunge. Even use the block. I love it for this one at least. Then try to bring the hip a little bit forward. Coming up, using the block or the fingers. Pushing without overdoing it. The front hip a little bit forward for a stretch in your hip flexor on the back leg there. One more big breath. Moving out of this posture. Knee off. Take the back foot to meet the front. And release whatever tension you feel you have to release before we do these 2 moves on the other side, or 3 moves it is. So your left leg goes back, turn the foot, warrior 2. If you're that go-getter woman or man, it might be super hard staying on the mat and not doing the best you can. Like you would want to do warrior 2 the hardest way ever, right? But maybe not today. Maybe try to make new patterns in your body as well as your mind. You don't have to always go to max. Sometimes we need to rest and do a little bit less. Bringing the front palm up, staying where you are with the back leg, but leaning back away from the front of the mat. Maybe looking up. Bring yourself out of this posture, both hands down on the floor. Back heel off as before. We can choose to bring the knee down. And just bring the knee back as much as you like. Coming up. You can fold the mat if you prefer to, a little bit extra support for the knee. Use your block, or I'm actually really good here with my hands on my thigh. Trying to avoid a huge back bend. And then move out of this stretch. Again, knee off, and bring yourself to a forward fold at the top of the mat. And then vertebrae by vertebrae with the navel in, move into mountain, standing. Now either just stand still and breathe, just for a moment. Or if you feel like you just have that extra energy in your body you don't really know what to do with. Maybe you shake your hands, maybe you shake your body, maybe you jump a little bit to release those hormones, that stress in your body. So maybe you even shout out or sigh out, do what you want to do, standing still, or maybe crossing your boundaries by shaking a little bit, releasing. And if you're done, try to calm your body again. If you're not done, maybe pause the screen and continue, okay? Then get a hold of your hands behind your back. If that's not something you can do, just hold on whatever you can here behind you. Push the shoulder blades a little bit back, and then bring your hands behind your buttocks. Make sure you soften your knees. We're gonna open up our chest. You don't have to go for a huge back bend. More of the broadening of the shoulders as you kind of squeeze the shoulder blades back and down behind you. And then you can bring this into a forward fold. So again, bending your knees, bring those arms back. And if you want to soften those elbows, maybe you want to kind of broaden a little bit by grasping or folding the hands wider, go ahead and do that. And release. Take a seat on the floor, maybe on the block again. We're almost where we want to roll on the mat with the balls, but shoulders. Lift the shoulders towards your ears. And when I do this, it's super uncomfortable. The trapezius muscles that are engaged here are often super tender, and especially when we're stressed over it, because we tend to lift up and even lean forward to support the core of our body here, right? But lift the shoulders up, keep them there for 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. And notice how nice that feels. And this is what you're allowed to do. Okay, lift the shoulders up. Maybe your condition for the past days or weeks or month have been walking around like this, squeezed up all tight. And you are called also to let go. So release and let go. Maybe you need to remind yourself that God is in control. And as we lift up the shoulders for the last time, you are not carrying the world. You're not carrying your kids, your husband, your friends, your mother and father on your shoulders. God is carrying them, so you can let go. So let's do that. Let go. We might feel sad, we might feel sorrow, but we can let go of the feeling of responsibility for solving every problem that everybody else has. I at least need to remind myself of that. So bring your 2 balls. The first we're going to do is massage the top of the trapezes. So you just stay put and look at the screen. We're gonna put the balls on the floor, but they're gonna stay somewhat up here. So when we rest on them, they will push in on the back of this meaty part of the shoulder, which can be pretty tender, especially when you're stressed. So try to find that. So you can just take the block. We're gonna put the hip on the lowest edge or part of that block. Like that. Because then we got the spine in a projectile a little bit down, which will put more pressure on the balls. Now, if these becomes too hard or whatever you have, just use a blanket on top of them, or maybe just massage with your hands if it's not accessible. So I take the balls and just put them behind me like this, and I might, adjust a little bit, ball the block, whatever. And when I feel like, okay, this is somewhat where I feel like they should be, or it feels, well, great, I wouldn't call it, but it feels like something is going on, it's working. I take my hands overhead, because that means that that ball can push in at the back of those trapezius muscles and the elevator that's somewhat attached around there. Now, I know a lot of us tend to move around and massage, but let's just try to rest. Soften. Don't put yourself in that position where you're in pain. Go for a little bit more easy place. Finding the slow rhythm of breath again. Practicing staying still in something that might be somewhat uncomfortable. If you want to move, you can do slow movements with your arms, but maybe it's just a great learning experience. Just stay still. We're going to move your balls down more together and then work in between the shoulder blades. So we're going to take the balls out, and as we move the balls down on the shoulder, between the shoulder blades, we're going to bring them together somewhat. So picture that tap of the spine actually going down in between that hollow there, in between the balls. So it might take a little bit of practice to actually get the balls where they need to go, okay? But try. So again, if you want to have a visual, you can see my shoulder blades are sticking out right there. So we want to bring the balls somewhere here, and then we're going to hug ourselves without lifting our shoulders, because that will get those balls going really nicely in between the shoulder blades. So maybe you want to put the balls down and then put your body down after, and then you can always kind of adjust. And there is no perfect place, okay? There's just that spot in your body that makes sense. So avoid that perfection. Maybe you move a little bit up and down. Maybe just, play with it. Actually, like a little bit distance in between the balls. I feel like they get in there really well. And the rhomboids and other things. So hugging your arms on top of your chest here, not over your shoulders, because then you keep the shoulders elevated. So just relax. Maybe your knees drop in and support each other. again, slow breaths. You can move your arms for, it's called a technique called shearing. So you move your muscles on top of that ball. So that creates some gliding in between the fascias and the muscles as they move. So that can be awesome. I'm definitely going to do more of these fascia release because I think they're so great both for stress release and just for wellness in general. But just one more spot for our purposes, and that's going to be the lower back. So you can remove the block and come up. We're going to go down, not completely down to the sacrum, but into that lordosis, or that arch in the back. And again, just find somewhere, maybe you go a little bit higher, maybe you go a little bit lower, but not on the bony parts. Want to go on the meat. And again, together you find the big muscles, rectus spinae, that's really often tender because they work a lot, keeping us going upright most of the day, seated upright. And they can be also super tight and fatigued when stressed. So put the ball under your hip. And again, notice what's going on. You might use the block here for a pillow. And in my body, it's nice to have sometimes my hands under my hip here for a little bit of elevation. I would advise you to keep your knees bended. And then try to relax. Take your time. And it might take actually 30 seconds or more for you to relax and accept that pressure of the balls into your muscles. And maybe you feel as you breathe, as you inhale, the belly rises, but maybe it also put a little bit of pressure into the balls. Again, you can stay still or slowly shift your knees from left to right. Maybe not a huge movement. And feeling how those muscle tissues are under extra challenge when you move from left to right. And if you want to stay put in one side, just do that. And then it's time for you to rest. So bring those balls away and It might be cold where you are, so bring a blanket. Again, the block under your head can be a great thing. If you have a bolster, you might use it. Whatever works for you. I'm gonna just play that soft music in the back, and you can choose to listen to it or just be in your body, be present, resting here in God's grace and God's care for 5 minutes. And whenever thoughts are popping into your head that is not something that you know is gonna be beneficial for now, let it go. That is the biggest challenge maybe in our time and age, not to keep being attached to thoughts the whole time, but detaching from them, letting them go, maybe exhaling, saying God is in control. Bring the shoulders away from the ears. Open your mouth, let the tongue fall down from the roof of the mouth. Soften your face. I'll slowly finish this class. If you want to stay on the mat, please do so. If you're ready to come into a seat, you can move your fingers, your ankles. Taking your time to stretch or huck in your knees. I'm going to finish with a prayer and a blessing upon your body, soul, and mind. So you're actually welcome to stay down on the mat as I pray. As always, listen or pray along with me. So God in heaven, thank you that you are in control. Thank you that the world does not rest on my shoulders. Thank you, God, that you care even more than I do for those people around me that might be having a hard time, that I might be worrying about. Help me to let go and let you be God and me be me. I pray that you will give my issues, my challenges, an answer when you see the time is right. That you'll heal me, people around me. I know that you can. I trust that you can. And from my heart to each person that watched this video, I pray a personal blessing upon their lives. And your healing touch in their heart, body, and mind, God. In your name, amen. Thank you. And God's peace on your path.